I'm leaving. It's not what you think. The words fell like shattered glass in the quiet of our living room. My wife, Amanda, stood by the door with her purse over her shoulder, her hand trembling as she gripped the handle. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. It was as if my heart had forgotten how to beat, as if my mind had shut down to protect itself from processing the impossible. My wife was leaving me, just like that. I need you to trust me, she added, her voice soft but firm. Her brown eyes, the ones I used to get lost in, were dull, as if the light had faded from them long before this moment. I'm not leaving because of us. You have to believe me. It's complicated. Complicated? Complicated? That's what she said when she forgot to pay the electricity bill last winter. That's what she said when we couldn't agree on which color to paint the kitchen. Complicated was for mortgages, medical insurance, and things like whether or not to adopt a dog. Not your wife walking out the door. Amanda, what are you saying? What do you mean you're leaving? What do you mean it's not because of us? I managed to stammer, though the words tasted like sand in my mouth. Every second felt stretched out, like I was living in slow motion, watching my life slip away through my fingers. She avoided my gaze, her head tilted downward as if she was searching for the right words. I can't explain right now, but it's important. I need you to trust me on this. It's not what it seems. And then she said it. The words that would haunt me for days, weeks, and months to come. Words that made the ground beneath me crumble and sent my world into a free fall. Dear, I need you to trust me. I need to leave. And with that, she opened the door, stepped out, and shut it softly behind her as if she were just going for a walk. As if nothing monumental had just happened. The silence that followed was deafening. I was left standing in the middle of our living room, surrounded by the life we had built together, the framed pictures of our honeymoon in Italy, the pile of mail on the counter, the half-empty coffee cups from breakfast. It all felt like a mockery now, a cruel joke. I dropped into the nearest chair, my legs unable to support me any longer. What the hell had just happened? Amanda and I had been married for 7 years. We'd had our ups and downs like any couple, but nothing serious. Nothing that would justify this. There were no late-night arguments, no talk of separation. We were supposed to be solid. Just a few days ago, she kissed me on the cheek before heading to work, saying, "Love you. See you tonight." And now she was gone. But what shook me to the core wasn't just that she had left. It was the way she said it, the way she asked me to trust her as she walked away from me, as if she wasn't betraying me. No, as if she was doing this for me. I stared at the door for what felt like hours, replaying her words over and over in my head. Something didn't add up. If she wasn't leaving me because of us, then why was she leaving? Why did she need me to trust her? And why did I feel like I was about to uncover something I wasn't ready to handle? The first night after Amanda left was a blur of confusion, anger, and anxiety. I spent most of it pacing around our house, checking my phone every 5 minutes, hoping she'd call or at least text me some kind of explanation. My mind was a storm of questions, none of which had answers. I barely slept. When morning came, I found myself sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the empty chair where Amanda used to sit. I was tired, but more than that, I was hollow. The world outside was moving on, the sun rising like it always did. But everything felt wrong. And that's when it hit me. I couldn't just wait here, hoping she'd come back. I needed to figure out what was going on. I grabbed my phone and called her. No answer. I called again. Voicemail. I tried texting, but nothing. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. By noon, I was losing my mind. I tried reaching out to her closest friends, even her sister, but no one had seen or heard from Amanda in the past 24 hours. It didn't make sense. This wasn't like her. She had a steady job at an accounting firm. She was reliable, predictable even. She didn't just disappear. I began to question everything. Had she been lying to me for months? Had our entire marriage been a facade? The thought made my stomach churn. Desperate, I decided to drive to her office. Maybe she was there, and this was all some terrible misunderstanding. Maybe she'd explain everything, and I'd realize how wrong I was to doubt her. But when I arrived at her office building, the receptionist told me Amanda had taken a leave of absence 2 days ago. 2 days. Before she even left me. I felt my heart race, the blood pounding in my ears. She had planned this. I left the office shaking with anger. She hadn't just walked out on me impulsively. This had been in the works. But why? Was there someone else? Was she having an affair? The thought made me feel sick to my core. I couldn't help it. I started thinking about all the times over the past few months when she'd seemed distant, distracted. The late-night work calls, the unexplained absences where she said she was running errands but came back hours later. The way she would smile at her phone sometimes, a smile I hadn't seen in a long time. I had ignored it all, brushed it off as nothing. I trusted her. I believed in our marriage. But now, every little thing seemed like a clue I had been too blind to notice. There had to be something, some hint as to what was going on. I returned home and started searching through her things. I wasn't proud of it, but I needed answers. I rifled through drawers, checked her laptop, even looked through her phone records. It felt invasive, wrong, but I was desperate. That's when I found it. Hidden in the bottom of her closet, beneath a pile of old clothes, was a small box I'd never seen before. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside were letters, dozens of them, written in handwriting that wasn't Amanda's. Each one was addressed to her. Each one began with the words, "My dearest love." And every single one was signed, "Yours forever, Nathaniel." Nathaniel. The name burned into my brain as I stared at the letters, disbelief mixing with rage and confusion. Who the hell was Nathaniel? And why was my wife getting love letters from him? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The letters lay sprawled in front of me like a series of landmines, each one holding the potential to explode my life into chaos. My heart raced as I read through them, absorbing the words that felt like daggers piercing my chest. My dearest love, I can't stop thinking about the day we met. You changed my life forever. Every moment away from you feels like an eternity. I dropped the first letter and grabbed another, frantic to discover the depths of this betrayal. Each letter was filled with confessions of love, promises of a future together, and apologies for the secrecy. Amanda had been seeing Nathaniel for months, possibly longer. I felt sick. How could she do this to me? Every moment I had cherished now felt tainted. The anniversary dinners, the trips we had taken. Had she been thinking of him? I gathered the letters, my hands shaking, and stuffed them back into the box, trying to compose myself. I needed to confront Amanda. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I left the house, my mind racing with a million questions. As I drove to her sister's house, where I hoped Amanda might be hiding, I thought about how to confront her. Should I go in with anger, desperation? Or should I just lay it all out, ask her directly about Nathaniel and why she needed to leave? Arriving at her sister's house, I knocked hard on the door, my heart pounding. After what felt like an eternity, Amanda's sister Jenna answered. She looked surprised to see me. "Jake, what are you doing here?" Her expression shifted from surprise to concern as she noticed my demeanor. "Where's Amanda?" I demanded, my voice steady but strained. "I need to talk to her." Jenna hesitated, looking down for a moment as if trying to find the right words. She's not here. I haven't seen her since yesterday." "Do you know where she went?" I pressed, frustration rising. "I need to find her. Now." "I think she went to stay with a friend," Jenna said slowly, her brow furrowed. "But Jake, are you okay? You look… is something wrong?" Something's very wrong, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She's been seeing someone else. His name is Nathaniel. Jenna's eyes widened, and for a moment I saw a flicker of something. Sympathy? Guilt? Oh, Jake, I didn't know. I thought maybe she just needed some space. Space? I scoffed, my heart aching. She's not just taking space. She's having an affair. I found letters she wrote to him, Jenna. Love letters. Jenna's expression shifted, a mix of concern and frustration. I wish you had come to me sooner. I knew something was off with Amanda. She had been acting strange for months, but I thought it was just work stress or something. I never imagined. She trailed off, her voice thick with emotion. I felt a surge of anger, directed not just at Amanda, but at everyone who had let this happen. Why didn't you say anything? I demanded. You could have warned me. I didn't know, she replied defensively. She's my sister. I thought she was going through a rough patch. I didn't think… Enough! I interrupted, my voice rising. I was losing control. I didn't want to lash out at her, but the pain was too much to bear. Where is she? Jenna took a deep breath, her expression shifting from confusion to resolve. I think I know where she might be. There's a cabin upstate where she used to go to think. She mentioned it a while back when she was feeling overwhelmed. Please, tell me how to get there, I said, my voice firm now. I need to find her. The drive to the cabin felt like an eternity. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, each mile fueling my rage and despair. I replayed every moment with Amanda, every laugh, every intimate conversation. How could she betray me like this? The cabin was nestled deep in the woods, isolated from the world. It was where we had spent many weekends, laughing and enjoying each other's company. But now, it felt like a prison of memories. When I finally arrived, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the trees. I parked my car and walked toward the cabin, my heart pounding in my chest. As I reached the door, I hesitated, taking a deep breath. I had no idea what I would find inside. I knocked, the sound echoing in the silence. A moment later, the door creaked open, revealing Amanda. She looked disheveled, her hair tousled and her eyes red-rimmed. The sight of her made my heart ache, but the anger boiled just beneath the surface. Amanda, I said, my voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. We need to talk. She looked surprised, maybe even scared, but her expression quickly morphed into something else. Defensiveness. Jake, I didn't expect you to come here. Clearly, I said, forcing myself to remain calm. I found the letters, Amanda. I know about Nathaniel. Her face paled. You shouldn't have gone through my things. I had to, I shouted, the frustration spilling over. You left me without explanation. How could you do this? How could you ask me to trust you when you were planning to leave me for someone else? She started, but the words caught in her throat. She stepped back, leaning against the doorframe. You don't understand. Then make me understand, I demanded, desperation creeping into my voice. Why him? Why not talk to me? We could have worked through this together. Tears filled her eyes. It's not that simple, Jake. I was feeling trapped, and Nathaniel, he made me feel alive again. I thought I could find a way to balance both, to figure things out, but it spiraled out of control. Spiraled out of control? I echoed, incredulous. You didn't even give me a chance to help you. You just left. Did you think I wouldn't care? That I wouldn't want to know what you were going through? I didn't want to hurt you, she cried, her voice breaking. I thought I could handle it on my own. I never wanted to betray you, Jake. I just wanted to feel free for once. Free? I repeated, my anger boiling over. You think running away and cheating on me is freedom? You think writing love letters to another man is what love looks like? What you did is a betrayal, Amanda. You shattered everything we built. She took a step closer, her eyes pleading. I know I messed up, but can't we just talk? Can't we just sit down and figure out what to do from here? I don't even know who you are anymore, I said, my voice low and filled with pain. The woman I married wouldn't have done this. The woman I loved wouldn't have left me without a word. You destroyed my trust, and now I don't know if I can ever get it back. The silence between us stretched, filled with unspoken words and emotions. I could see the tears spilling down her cheeks, but it did nothing to quell my anger. The ache in my chest felt overwhelming, a physical manifestation of my broken heart. Jake, she said, her voice trembling, please, I want to fix this. I love you. Love? I laughed bitterly. You don't love me. You love the idea of me, the comfort I provided. This is not love. This is betrayal. I made a mistake, she pleaded, desperation in her eyes. I thought I could figure it out on my own. I thought you would be better off without me if I left. I thought... Thought what? I interrupted. Thought you could just waltz back into my life after shattering it into pieces? You don't get to decide what's best for me. I don't want to lose you, she cried, her voice breaking again. I was scared. I didn't know how to talk to you about it. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. You hurt me in ways I never thought possible, I said, my heart heavy. And now, here we are. I don't know if I can forgive you, Amanda. I don't know if I even want to try. I'll do anything, she said, her voice filled with desperation. Just please don't walk away from me. I took a deep breath, the weight of my decision pressing down on me. I wanted to believe that love could conquer all, that we could find a way back from this, but the scars were too deep. Sometimes, love isn't enough, I said finally. I need to think. I need space. This isn't something we can fix in one conversation. I need time to process all of this. With those words, I turned away, leaving her standing in the doorway as I walked back to my car. The tears streamed down my face, but I couldn't turn back. I needed to find my own way, to rebuild the pieces of my heart that had been shattered. As I drove away from the cabin, I realized that while this was the end of one chapter, it was also the beginning of another. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I had to prioritize myself for once. Trust was gone, but somewhere deep down, I hoped that with time, I could find healing and perhaps even a new path forward.